everyone. I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and I'm hosting Creating an Inspired Life. I am so happy to be here with you today on live audio as well as live video. It's very exciting. If you haven't listened before, I'll tell you a little bit about the show. My passion is to help people live their best, most unique, wonderful, inspired life. Everyone has their own life and everybody has their own path. And I'd like to help people live their best lives. And I do this in a few different ways. One, I'm a psychic medium. So I connect in with your loved ones on the other side as a medium, and I bring in messages that they can bring to you, that they want to tell you whatever's going on. They do like to share things about their lives as well as yours. As a psychic, I also touch into my feelings. What I'm feeling might happen or could happen. Of course, you have free will. You can do whatever you want. So I won't tell you what to do. I'll just give you my impressions. And I'm also a spiritual life coach. And as a life coach, I help people decide and get clarity on their goals and their dreams. So if someone's trying to get something done and it's not really working for them, they don't know what to do to move forward, they try things, it doesn't work so well, I help people come up with solutions, steps, ideas that can help them move forward so they can create their best life. Everything I do is all about empowering people to create their best lives. I love doing it. It's really a wonderful thing. Every week on this show, I take a couple of callers and I also give you a coaching tip because I like to have these little ideas, and they are little and they're simple, but they're very profound because they can help you make a big change in your life. And so my coaching tip today is all about knowing who you are. Many years ago, I was at a workshop and I was doing an automatic writing experience, and that's where you just write whatever comes through. And part of the message I received was, be who you are, for who you are is blessed. And this was a real eye-opening moment for me because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I liked anymore. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I had a halfway decent life. I had a good job, but it really wasn't great to me emotionally because it seemed like it was the same thing day in and day out. I was also in a marriage that was okay, but really not the best thing ever. There were a lot of things I was doing in my life that I was just doing out of habit, and I was just living but without conscious thought. And that message told me to figure out who I was. It set me on a path of self-discovery because I needed to know who I was, be who I am, for who I am is blessed. And it's very interesting to me that so many of us live without thought. We tend to just go through the motions. We don't pay attention to what we're doing. We don't really think about things. We may react to what happens to us without actually making a conscious choice as to whether or not this reaction is indicative of who we really are, if we've even considered who we really are. Many years ago, when my son was young, he was known for pushing my buttons. He could say things and he would yell at me, and I'm talking 7 years old, 8 years old. And if he would yell, I would yell back. And many people these days, they would look at me and say, you're not a yeller. And I'm not now, thank goodness. But back then, I would just respond that way. That energy that came at me negatively like that with the screaming, I would just do it back. Well, it happened about that time that I had decided I was going to get a life coach. And that was something I mentioned to her. I said, I really don't like this about myself. And we talked about what kind of person I wanted to be. And I realized that this was not the person I wanted to be. I didn't want to be a screamer. It looked like a crazy woman. It's insane. And that didn't really show that I was a loving, kind person, of course. And so it was really interesting because I had to make a conscious choice to change that behavior. I had to really look at myself and say, who am I? What is it I want to do? What is it I want to be here in my life? How am I going to do this? And what kind of behaviors was I having? And I could see sometimes my behaviors didn't really align with who I thought I was. And when that happened, I would just say, okay, so I needed to make a change. And fortunately now, I'm not a yeller. My son doesn't even remember my yelling at him, which is a good thing. And it was really interesting because I watch now some people, when people are disrespectful, and are people responding with respect, or are they being disrespectful back? Same thing if somebody's being mean or it's a jerk. I was in an office and I needed to pay a bill or something like this. It was something for the taxes for the town. And I go in and the lady she's not very friendly first. She doesn't say, hi, how are you? Nice to see you. Nothing like this. She doesn't smile. And she's very just straightforward, but doesn't seem to have any personal interaction skills. And she was kind of acting like a jerk. And the more I talk to her, the more I'm thinking, this is interesting. So I like to make it a little game where I try to make them smile. So I just go on and on and on and ask them all these questions and make jokes and all this stuff. So I tried very hard not to respond in the same way with the energy she was putting out. And sometimes we have people who are mean to us, and it's very hard to show restraint and not give them back the exact same energy that they're giving to us. Because if we do that, if we give them the same energy back, we're actually giving our own energy away. Now, that's not to say, and I don't want anybody to get confused here, but it's not to say that if something is wrong, unfair, that you don't speak up. You still have to speak up. You can be kind, tactful, polite, direct, whatever you have to do to get your point across. This doesn't mean if you're a kind, loving person that you just roll over and say, oh, well, that's just the way it is. It'll be okay. No, you still have to speak up. So you're not a pushover. It's living in your own power. It's creating what you want in your life. And thinking back to how I was very unaware. And this was a long time ago now, probably maybe 15, 16 years ago that this was going on, where I was just very unaware. But now I've made this choice, this conscious choice of who I want to be. What kind of person am I? And do my actions align with that? And you can go both ways. You can switch your mind and change your belief systems if they're not correct, or you can change your actions and then it'll kind of go backwards. If you want to be a kind person, but you're not acting kindly, then try to be kind, and eventually you'll see you actually really are a kind person, that kind of thing. You can go back and forth. So that's my coaching tip today. My coaching tip is for you to pay attention to who you are, who you want to be. Figure it out if you haven't done it yet. And then make sure that your actions are in alignment with who you think you are. Because if you're in alignment, then you are really creating your best life and you're being the best version of yourself. And that's what we need to have more of in this world today. More people living true to themselves. So there you go. That's my coaching tip for today. Now, if you ever wanted to reach me, you can find me at psychicmediumcolleen.com. It's a lot easier to spell than ColleenVanderzyden.com. And you can also connect with me on Facebook, Medium Coach Colleen Vanderzyden. And I would love to hear from you and hear what you have to say. So what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to our first caller, who is Crystal from the Netherlands. Crystal, how are you today?
I am doing good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. What can I help you with tonight?
I was wondering if you can pick up on my twin flame. I don't know if you're familiar with twin flame.
I have heard of twin flames. As I understand it, and you'll have to tell me if I'm correct because I haven't thought about it in a long time, it's kind of like someone who's very much like you?
Yes, sometimes a little bit the opposite, but it fits. 11 years ago, I had a dream about him, and I get these dreams that really happen, premonition dreams, since I was 17. Mm-hmm. So I know the difference. I knew he existed. But June 2nd, I went somewhere, and I felt he was going to be there, and suddenly I kept hearing, turn around. I turned around, I saw his eyes. I instantly recognized him, but the timing was not right. I know. We never talked.
Oh, really? So he didn't see you that way then?
He did look at me, but he usually twin flames, when you meet each other, one of them, usually the male, runs away when it's too intense.
Just like real life.
Exactly that happened. As soon as he looked at my eyes, I noticed he acted a certain way, like it was the same. But he was so scared to look at me. But later I start sending him light, and suddenly he just left the building.
Okay, well, apparently you must have some good power. Now, it's interesting because, you know what, I'll just go with my psychic impressions on this because I can tell, that you've seen this energy, you felt the energy. But I do want to tell you that it's not necessarily that person that you saw, because I get the impression that there are at least 2 or 3 people out there who would work in that role, if you will, as a twin flame. And
Okay.
because what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to go through the rest of your life looking for that one person you saw. Because if you do that, you're going to stop the person from coming in. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when I'm doing a mediumship reading and somebody really wants to talk to somebody in particular, and that's the only person they're thinking of, they won't notice any other spirits that I bring in. They just don't see them, and they won't accept them. And so sometimes we have to accept what comes in. So it's kind of that feeling to me, because I feel as though there are 2 or 3, like I said, people around who could be very good for you. And the twin flame energy, we are all, my theory, okay, this is my theory as of today, could change in 10 minutes, but my theory is we are all one. We are all connected in spirit. And that twin flame idea is that there could be 2 or 3, literally, who have that same energy. Okay. Now, thinking about it, and I'm going to step outside of the twin flame thing for a moment, because I do feel that if you spend too much time looking for someone, rather than allowing that energy to come in, and there is a difference, because looking is an action thing, and action is good. But if you're so focused on one thing, sometimes it doesn't work. And instead, kind of invite the energy to come in and allow the energy to come into you, because I do feel that you'll start doing that more and more over the next 6-8 months. And I feel next year, we're in November. I feel August, for some reason, August, and then into October of 2017. I'm talking, okay, as I go into that time. I feel that people start to come into your energy more. I feel you're more open to that and more allowing of it. Okay. The dreams that you have, the premonition dreams and those things, those are wonderful, aren't they? They're stunning, because it connects you, it connects you with the spirit, to God, whatever you want to call it, to that energy. It connects you to that. So you have this awareness. You'll have to be careful. And I do feel I actually have a spirit talking to me right now, but I'm not going to go into identifying them, because that's not the point right now. But I do feel that you'll have to really be sure to be open. It's the being open, but there's something else here. It's the being open. It's the allowing in, but also letting. It's a letting thing, okay, what am I saying? Hold on, back up. Okay, thank you. It's making sure you're aware of the person you're really talking to. Okay, so you may meet somebody and your first initial reaction is, oh my goodness, this is it. This is it. I know it is. I can tell. I can feel it. Okay. It might not be. Okay. So I want you to make sure you're still using some discernment here, because you can have these connections with people and you think, oh my gosh, we so belong together. Look at this. This is like love at first sight. And I know it's because we're connected energetically, but you still have to let some reality come in and recognize that, okay, just keep watching and see if that person truly is who they seem to be, because they may not be. So don't get too far out there. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to get.
At first, I thought I was just imagining, because sometimes I just, it looked too good to be true, so I just backed off a bit that day. But I had a friend, she was doing cards, and I asked her, can she pick up on that day? Because I really thought I was imagining. It just seemed I didn't have so much luck in love. And that friend, she's also herself a twin flame, and she was like, it is him, but the timing was not right at all. That's why the energy wouldn't allow me in, because I just really felt like something is pulling me not to talk to him.
Yeah, and I think that's true. So, my advice to you would be to just remain open and allow the energy to come to you. Okay, don't try to attract it. Like, don't sit there, oh, you come to me, that kind of thing. Just allow it to come to you, because then it'll come in the right time. And still make sure you have a touch of reality in there, because I operate energetically as well, so I know where you're coming from. And you want to make sure you have that reality so that you don't step into something that's not exactly right. So just make sure you're discerning at the right time. Okay, I do get the impression, before I let you go, that the first person you think is the twin flame, it's not. It's not. Okay, so when you, and I don't think I'm talking about the one you've already seen, but whoever the next one feels like that might be him, that one, I don't like the feel of it, so don't go there. Okay, I don't really want to tell you what to do because you can do whatever you want, but
because I've been single for quite some years. But the beginning of this year, I was healing with my ex. For 5 years, I was not with my ex, but we were very good friends. But for some reason, I was so sad he had a new girlfriend, and all the energy just came up to be healed. And I've really been alone for a long time because I'm not someone that just wants to be in any relationship. I just wanted to be with the right one, or rather be alone.
Yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So, yeah. So you do have your head on your shoulders. I can tell you do. And it was good that you got those energies up. You know, especially with your ex having a new relationship, it's good to get that up and get that out and deal with it, because now you're more open and you're going to allow that to come in even more. So good job there. That's perfect.
The weird thing was everything pointed out to healing the energy with my mother, and sometimes it's still hard, but I try to just, instead of let my emotions take over, to just see her with love. So
yes.
that was really hard healing.
Good. Yeah, see, you're exactly on the right path. You don't really need to be talking to me at all. You know what you're doing.
Colleen, can I just ask you one thing? Is there any way to ask if you can pick up? My dad has a court case, and I'm very sad for my parents. It's taken 9 years now for them. And I don't know if you can pick up anything on what can happen, because some people, as a company, it's two people, they accuse them of they forge documents and everything. And I'm someone that I usually always would trust the universe, and I kept telling my father, you're going to win because the universe doesn't support all that, what they're doing. And I always believe everything comes to light, but now things are not looking very well.
Yeah, you know, this actually, the only thing I'm getting on this is detachment, just letting it work as things go, just letting things work out as they're supposed to work out. I do feel a conclusion here, actually. So I do feel a conclusion. This has been going on for some time, and I feel 6 to 8 months that there will be a conclusion of this. And by that, whenever I give a deadline like that, it's done. It's over. Okay, so that's what it's feeling to me. And so it's one of those detachments, and just let it play out as it's going to play out.
Just trust the universe.
Yes, that's what it is, totally. So I do need to move on to my next caller, but it was so nice talking to you, Crystal.
Thank you so much for calling me. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, you're welcome. You have fun finding your twin flame there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that was Crystal from the Netherlands. And next, we're going to move on to Connie from Texas. Connie, how are you today?
Fine. How are you?
I am doing very well. How can I help you today?
Yes, ma'am. I was wondering if past love's going to come back into my life.
Somebody who's still in the physical, I assume, then, not on the other side? Because right away, actually, I am feeling a gentleman on the other side who comes in, and I do want to touch in with him when he comes in. And you would understand with him, this guy, he reminds me of a old-fashioned man's man. Okay, he tells me he passed in his late 60s, early 70s. I feel like he was very strong when he was here, and I feel like he was very manual. I want to be doing manual things with my hands, and I feel a very, in some ways, a little bit of a gruff personality. Did you have somebody pass who was like that?
Actually, yeah, it was my father, and his anniversary date of his death is the 20th of this month.
Okay. Yeah, they do like to come back in. And it is interesting to see him and touch in with him, because even though I feel him as that man's man, and I could see him being gruff at times, you know, I feel such a sense of love with you. So I do want to make sure I mention that. I feel such a sense of wanting to take care of you. I feel a sense of him wanting to be around you and protecting you. And I feel like he would do anything to protect you. And it's interesting, he stepped in when you were talking about wanting to know about this past love coming back. Now, is this relationship somebody you already had a relationship with, and you're wondering if this person is going to come back to you?
Yes, Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Because it's very interesting how your father touches in with that. And I know he wouldn't have talked about this when he was here. He's not one of those people that would have really gone into all of that stuff. And when he's talking about it with me, he tells me that he would love to have somebody who really adores you, who will really take care of you. He tells me you don't need anybody to take care of you, but it's always nice to have somebody there, somebody you can count on, somebody who can pick up some of that stuff that you have to do yourself, and it would be like nice to have that. And he does say it would be really nice to have somebody there. He's talking about making sure it's the right one. Now, the one that you're talking about, when I touch in with that energy, it feels a little bit disconcerting to me right now. Is this person still available? To be in a relationship, do you know? Because it feels a little weird to me. And I'm not sure what it is, okay? So I'm going to go into that just a little bit, and we're going to sort this out and see what I'm feeling, because I feel him, there's I don't know if it's a hesitancy or, and that's why I was wondering if he was not available, because there's a little bit of a block, if you will, for that to come in. Are you in contact with him at all?
No, ma'am.
Okay. That could be part of the problem then, huh? Because I feel a bit of that not so sure of things. You know, I get the impression that there's some things he has to deal with first in himself and what he really wants and what he really needs. I get the impression, too, that you might be a stronger personality than he is. Would you say that's true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I do get that, and when I feel that energy, because of that, because you're a stronger energy, I feel as though you might have to be the one to just kind of touch base, shall we say, and just say, "Hey, what's going on? How are you doing? You know, I'm wondering what's going on." In a very friendly way, but not in a needy way. You know what I'm saying? I don't want you to contact him and say, "Hey, we should have a relationship," because that's, you know, way too direct for him. It has to be more of a reestablishment on a slower level. You know, he has his free will, as do you. So you can't convince him or anything like that to come back to you. But, you know, in some ways, he feels like a good match for you. Did you have a good relationship when it was going on?
For 25 years.
Because it feels like a good relationship, but it feels like he has to finish some things off. So it may be a matter of getting his brain in a different place, you know, being open to that. It may be a matter of him deciding to come back and say, "You know what, that was a mistake. I should have stayed there," you know, that kind of thing. So that's, yeah. Let me see. I'm going to go forward a little bit and see what I can feel, because even more with this, because it would be interesting to see. Yeah. He comes across a little bit lonely to me. Do you know if he doesn't have a whole lot of support around him, like a lot of friends or anything? He seems a little bit of a loner. Is it? Does
Well, can I be honest with you?
Yeah, please.
Okay. It's a female, and
oh, sorry, I should ask.
That's all right. That's not a big deal. It's a female, and she married somebody, but I don't think she's happy, and she was pushed into the marriage by her family.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense then, because I understand that now. That makes sense to me now. Yeah. So there is that sorting out of things in the head there, trying to figure out. Okay. And you were with her for a long time then?
Yes, ma'am. 25 years.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Now, there's an interesting, you know, the feeling of reaching out and touching there, you know, making contact, that kind of thing is the way to go about it. There may be a little bit of fear there that you wouldn't be receptive to a return as well. So, you know, on a more gentle note with that. And then, okay, now if she doesn't, do you know if she's a bit of a loner too? Man, you know, does her family know that you guys were in a relationship?
Yes, ma'am, for 25 years, but they didn't like it.
Yeah, I wonder if there's still some issues with having to deal with that, because it feels like there's stuff going on in the head still. At the same time, if
It
I
may
were
be the man
you,
that she married, because she married an older man, and she couldn't, on her wedding day, she couldn't even remember his name.
oh gosh, well,
And
talk
her
about a
and
perfect.
her aunt was in the audience
Oh,
telling her, "Oh, come on, Beth, come on, get it together."
oh wow. See now, talk about somebody who doesn't get the chance to live their own life the way they want to live, and to be who they are. She was doing things that really weren't ringing true with her. If I were you, my feeling here is to contact, and in a very gentle way, and just say, "How are you?" And
But I
then do
can't
it that.
contact her because she's blocked me off of Facebook, and I don't have her phone number.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're going to have to do it energetically and try to contact her and say hi energetically, and just kind of send her stuff and see, because there's just a lot of stuff going on in her head. And so I think she's just going to have to figure that out too.
Well, I
Interesting.
believe that we're soulmates.
Yeah. And boy, and it's a similar message to the one I gave to the last person I was talking to make sure that you don't just hold out for one person, that you do allow the best one to come in. So don't just sit there waiting and waiting for this one to come in, because there could be another one coming, that could be even better than you think.
Yeah, I know, but there's only one person for me in my life.
Okay, so you're going to have to think about this and figure out what you want to do then, because you can't control somebody else's behaviors. So we'll have to see how it plays. Well, I am getting my 60-second warning, so I'm actually going to have to sign off with you. But I do want to send you a lot of love from your father, and just be really good about being open and allowing to, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Well, thank you so much for calling. And that was
Thank you.
Connie. You're welcome. And that was Connie from Texas. And I'm Colleen Vanderzyden, and this was Creating an Inspired Life. And this week, pay attention to who you think you are. Figure out who you are if you haven't done it yet, and then find out if your actions are actually in alignment. You may find out they're not. And if you want to reach me, you can reach me at psychicmediumcolleen.com or on Facebook, Medium Coach Colleen Vanderzyden. And you have a wonderful week, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.